Hello, everyone. I hope you all are fine and safe under this situation. Uh, Thank you, everyone, first of all, to join my presentation today at Young Sensico Group. And it's a very nice platform for everyone, particularly for young Sensico community peoples to exchange our ideas, our research, and for further networking and collaboration. And I would like to thanks first Veronica, Katia, and Marco for organizing this beautiful system in every 2-3 weeks after we engage with this kind of presentation, and it's very nice for me. Yeah. So today I will present my PhD work, whatever I have done still yet. Myself, Shubhajit Bandyopadhyay. I'm a final year PhD student at Poznan University Life Science, which is a Polish university located in Poznan, and I'm also work as a visiting research fellow at DLR Berlin, and but currently as a visiting researcher from last 6 months, I'm here at University of Zurich to work with calibration and validation at Remote Sensing Laboratories Group. So. But today I will mostly focus on my PhD work on that I have done for sun-induced fluorescence and reflectance related research in my last 3 years. So I will go step by step with the objectives and the study that I have done, and I managed to segregate my presentation in 2 parts based on the objectives of my study, and further I will move forward with my work. Okay. So here today I will discuss about 3 major objectives that I have already achieved in my PhD work still yet. So basically from the beginning, first of all, when I joined my PhD, I started working with the HyPlant data. Many of you already know about the HyPlant airborne data sets. It's a very unique data set that we have worked. I will come into this later. So the basic objectives of my research is to find out, to explore the SIF signals at both oxygen absorption bands at 760 nm and 687 nm from different managed and natural ecosystems. It's a maybe the homogeneous landforms like forest grassland, as well as we have also the heterogeneous landform like peatland. So this is a beautiful character of my experimental site that I will come into the map in my next slide. So we have both kind of landscape, homogeneous as well as heterogeneous landscapes are there in my experimental site, and I mostly worked on these particular landforms. Secondly, I have validated and compared the different vegetation indices and biophysical parameters and how it relate to the SIF signals. So basically, I validate the signals obtained from the different landscapes. And after that, we may try to make a relationship with the SIF signals. And if there is, we try to figure out if there is any relationship between the biophysical parameters of like Li and FAPAR with the SIF signals. And in my third objective, which I have done recently, that we developed a model that simulate the SIF signal from the simple airborne spectral vegetation indices. So that would be the next second part of my presentation. So before I go to my presentation, I would like to mostly focus the study area where I have done my whole work. So this is basically, we call it Dziecin peatland. Dziecin peatland is mainly located in the western Poland, Wielkopolski region, within the Nordic forest boundary, and it is almost 70 kilometers from Poznan city. We usually go there for field measurements when I was in Poland. But from the historical and cartographic data set that you can see in the map, also in the center there is a lake. So from the historical and cartographic data set, it's showed that the lake is a result of shallowing and declare, but the whole process, so this area, this particular oval shaped area is the peatland area mostly. And in the edges of the peatland there is some small grassland area, and whole outer parts of the peatland area is the forest area, which is mostly in the pine forest area. So here we have the unique system that we have a forest ecosystem in the boundaries, we have the peatland ecosystem, and we have also the grassland ecosystem within our whole study area. At the middle of the peatland there is a station which is not visible here, unfortunately, that there is a gas exchange. Greenhouse measurements have been done since 2004. But the uniqueness of my study area is that it is extremely valuable from floral and natural conservation perspectives, that because as I mentioned before, that we have both homogeneous and heterogeneous ecosystem within a single area, that that's why from the floral and natural conservation perspective this is very important. And in this reason it is considered within the Natura 200 network protected areas, which is Europe's most valuable and threatened species have been found there. So in this perspective, the Jechin peatland is very unique for our study. And I and our whole of our team are continuously engaging to do in-depth research on vegetation, remote sensing, gas exchange, and all these things, sun-induced fluorescence, everything we have done since a long time in this area. So, if I, first of all, before going to the data analysis part, I would like to first show you that the whole research of my study we have categorized the the peatland area, the whole peatland area, including the forest and grassland areas, into two parts. So during 2015 to 2017, there was a botanical survey have been conducted. And from that report, the whole area has been categorized with some unique ecosystem scales, unique peatland plant community scale. So here you can see that in a broad categories, we have the heterogeneous peatland area, which is mainly the oval shaped area with close to the lake. And there is homogeneous areas of grassland and forest. Even within the peatland, we have different kind of vegetation groups. The name of the vegetation groups, like it's mentioned here, that we have the calcareous fens, transition mires, some sage vegetation, some rust vegetation areas. All these are included within the peatland ecosystem. There is total 7 vegetation groups. As well as in grassland, we have some agricultural lands and post-agricultural lands mainly, and some grassland groups also there. And within the forest areas, we have different diverse forest communities. Like we have, first of all, there is some deforested areas. Also, there is some pine forest areas, but within the pine, secondary pine forest areas, some betula kind of forest species, riparian forest and deciduous forest. This kind of different vegetation groups are present within the forest areas too. So this is the part of the ecosystem scale that we have in our experimental site. On the other hand, with the in-depth botanical survey, the team have found that there is unique vegetation peatland plant communities are there, which is mainly located inside the peatland area. So this is the distribution of the different plant communities, and there are total 27 unique plant communities which is located mainly inside the peatland area. So in my first research, I am mostly focused on the ecosystem scale as well as in the peatland plant community scale. So the data set that I have been used for my whole research, the HyPlan data set. So here I know most of you know about the HyPlant dataset, but the thing is in 2015, there is a SWAMP summer school which have been organized by the support of ESA, UFR and Flex mission team, and in under the guidance of my supervisor. On 11 July 2015, the HyPlant airborne sensor have been flown over the Jechin peatland, and the data set that have been obtained in 2015, I mostly worked on that. So so the HyPlant airborne sensor basically constituted with two major modules, that flow module and dual module. So in the flow module, there is the spectral range between 670 to 780, whereas in dual module, it's 370 to 2500 nanometer. So the flow module is basically useful for developing the fluorescence maps, which have been mainly targeted to develop the fluorescence map of the Jechin peatland, whereas the dual module is useful for the different reflectance indices generation. So HyPlant, as you all know, that HyPlant is a airborne demonstrator of ESA Flex mission, and it have been planned to launch in 2014. So the unique airborne demonstrator of Flex FLORIS satellite we have used over the study area campaigned in 2015. So most of my research I have done on the HyPlant derived airborne datasets. So now I come to the part one of my objective, that in this part we will explore the SIF signals which have been managed from different natural and managed ecosystem, and we try to figure out the relationship between different vegetation indices and biophysical parameters in relation to SIF signals. And we also try to validate the HyPlant derived maps in relation to ground measurements. So this is the first of all, this is the derived maps of spectral vegetation indices from A to D, that showing the spectral diversity of the HyPlant derived reflectance based vegetation indices from simple ratio, NDVI, EVI, and PRI. And on the same time, from the flow module, we have received the SIF 760 and 687 two oxygen absorption bands maps of sun-induced fluorescence. So here you can see you have used the normal equations to derive the vegetation indices over the HyPlant, over the Jechin peatland using the HyPlant data. On the same time, we have used the spectral fitting method, not the advanced one, the previous one, which has been clearly described by Cogletti et al. In 2015. We use the spectral fitting method to develop the SIF maps over the study area at 760 and 687 nanometer bands. This is the points in the located, which is inside the peatland area, that the we have total 9 ground validation points from where we have collected, we have done our sampling for the ground testing. And you can see from the different dominant species of different vegetation groups, which is mostly located inside the peatland area, that it's have been dominated by carex to sphagnum areas to some other different and diverse plant communities of peatland. So this is the in-depth details of the location from where ground validation have been conducted. At the same time, so for the ground validation, we have used 2 spectrometers, HR400 and mainly constituted 2 different sensors, which is one is used for visible and NIR bands for basically calculating the vegetation indices. On the other hand, we have more narrower sensor with 600, particularly focusing on 650 and 840 nanometer for developing the SIF signals obtained from the ground level. So at the same time, we have also calculated the Lie and FAPAR. So Lie have been measured with the SunScan Delta system, as well as FAPAR have been calculated over this particular validation spot. So here you can see that the different Lie and FAPAR values of different vegetation plant community area of over the Jechim peatland, which is mainly used furthermore for validation and to understand the biophysical relations with the SIF signals. So before going to more further details, we first validate the high plant airborne maps in relation to ground spectra as well as to high plant derived airborne maps. So here you can see in the vegetation indices in almost all 4 vegetation indices, we have received quite good amount of agreement between the ground spectra and high plant airborne spectra. At the same time, we have also calculated the sun-induced fluorescence from the second spectrometer, more narrow spectrometer, and we also compare the signals obtained from high plant and ground validation. And here we also received very good agreement between the ground spectra and high plant spectra. So it denotes that though peatland is a very extremely heterogeneous landscape with wide spectral diversity, but still we managed to get a very good agreement between the ground measurements and high plant based measurements. So this provides us more accurate and confident that we furthermore process these data sets for more deep understanding of the relationship between SIF and other parameters. So this is first of all this bar graph representing mostly the different plant communities or vegetation groups of the peatland, grassland, and forest areas, and we have tried to figure out the average of the different vegetation indices and their values at ecosystem scale. First, I will come to ecosystem scale. So in the ecosystem scale, in 3 different landscape, we are getting this amount of average values. So here you can see that within the forest areas, the deciduous forest and elder forest, this forest have managed to get the higher signals, whereas in the meadows group within the grassland area have received the highest signal from the SIF as well as different vegetation indices. And within the peatland plant community, the low breech spruce and elder forest, these are main 2 communities which have received the highest signals from the 760 as well as in 687. So now we further try to figure out the relationship between different vegetation indices derived values in relation to SIF 760 and 687. So almost though the relationships are almost not optimal, but here you can see for simple ratio and NDVI, we managed to get a good agreement between SIF and vegetation indices, particularly simple ratio and NDVI. However, for the EVI, the relationships are not very clear, though there is some trend, but it's not very prominent. However, on the other side, from the PRI, we received a negative relationship between SIF and vegetation index, SIF and PRI in both oxygen absorption bands. So here these black dots and denotes the peatland area, and gray dots representing the grassland, and white representing the different forest communities. So here you can see mostly the white dots are located in the upper portion of the box. That includes the higher values have been obtained from within the forest areas, and some particular communities in peatland, they have received the highest values in SIF as well as in reflectances. So this is in the ecosystem scale. And in the plant community scale, we have went through the same approach. That first of all, we try to figure out the average values of different plant communities. We categorize the plant communities into peatland plant communities into 3 major classes, which is one is meadows, which is mostly homogeneous, the peatland rush, and fen vegetation. First of all, we received the signals from different vegetation indices and SIF signals. And furthermore, we try to figure out the relationship between different vegetation indices and SIF signals. But unfortunately, the relationships are not very prominent, and there is no specific trend we have been found when we narrow down the we narrow down the scale between relationship between SIF and VIs. But this doesn't even in all vegetation groups, even in fen, even in meadows, even in peatland grass, not in a single particular classes we received a very prominent relationship, though there is some trend in the meadows, which because this is mostly the homogeneous patch. But when we move from homogeneous landscape to heterogeneous landscape, in the more fine, narrower down the scale, the relationships are not very prominent, and it doesn't indicate any strong relationship, or we cannot figure out any particular solutions from there. So basically what we have received from this research, that finally we observed that the higher values of SIF are associated with the biomass of the vascular plants, because here you can see that we have a very good relationship between the Li values of the vascular plants with the SIF 760. But in the second, it has been indicated that 760 is more in connection with the functional diversity of the peatland vegetation, because like 760 is more comparatively more sensitive, more strongly sensible in compared to 687. So we find out that the vegetation groups within the peatland area, they have a good functional diversity in relation to 760. The higher values of SIF of 760 associated with the plant communities with the high perennial, whereas lower values are indicated with the dominance sphagnum. So because our peatland area is mostly controlled by the water level, so the airborne campaign, it's a one-day data set, and the airborne campaign have been conducted in July to 2015. So most of the time it's a summertime, and the availability of the water is not that prominently observed in the area. So sphagnum is a kind of a particular plant community that have been highly dependent on the water availability. So by that time, the summertime, due to the dryness of the peatland area, they are not managed to give a proper signal in 760. But whereas the perennial grasses and other plant communities, those who are not that much independent with the water levels, they have good relationship. Even they are more greener, and they are more able to do the stable photosynthesis process in compared to the sphagnum one that have a good relationship with the 760. In the forest area, we found that the young pine forest areas, mostly the deciduous areas, have the higher SIF signals, which is in agreement with another research by Professor Roberto Colombo, and they also indicated that high young forest groups have a good relation with the SIF signals. But the reason behind that we didn't find out a relationship with the extremely peatland plant communities and SIF signals because of the noise. We assume that this is maybe the noise, and particularly when we narrow down the scale from ecosystem scale to peatland plant community scale, the spectral diversities that we have received is very prominent and very strong. So maybe the reason behind, due to the noise as well as from the extreme complexity of the spectral heterogeneity, the relationships are not very prominent, and the agreement between SIF and VIs are not so much strong in this case. I mean, so due to the spectral heterogeneity and diversity, maybe the reason that we didn't receive a good agreement between SIF and VIs at narrower peatland plant community scale. So I published this work in Remote Sensing in 19. So so this is the first part of my presentation. Now I go to the second part of my presentation. So the second part of my object presentation, it's mainly cover we develop a model which is called the fuzzy model, and to approximate the SIF signal, maybe we can say it in replicate, or maybe we develop a proxy of SIF signals from simple vegetation indices using the same airborne HyPlan dataset. So the target of my research is to show that how simple and easily producible reflectance indices can act as a proxy of SIF signal. So the data set that I have used, as I mentioned before, that the HyPlan derived and ground validated spectral vegetation indices, SVIs, as showed in previous slides, and also the SIF maps, which is validated in the previous shown in the previous slide, have been used for this model simulation. For validation and model SIF maps, HyPlan derived ground validated SFM based SIF maps also used. We have only stick to the, because this work is mostly motivated by the previous relationship that we received. So we received in the I showed you in previous slide that the relationship at the ecosystem scale between SIF and vegetation groups, SIF and vegetation indices is though it NDVI, PRI or EVI, it's not very optimal. So the relationship is not very prominent. So we try to figure out in the next work that can we develop some, if we assemble such vegetation indices, such vegetation traits together, and can we replicate the original SIF signals, and if it is, how would be there and how much residual we received from this relationship. So in this study, we try to use the same data sets for the model simulation, and we use the vegetation groups, only particularly consider the ecosystem scale because we don't have any good relationship in the plant community scale. So I didn't consider that one for the next level. For the this work is mainly on the ecosystem scale. And in this study, we have used a fuzzy simulation approach to replicate the novel SIF signals at both oxygen absorption patterns 760 and 687. So the model is termed as fuzzy simulation, fuzzy model. So fuzzy is basically very common model in special modeling techniques, which have been developed by 1965 by Zeta, and it's basically handle the complex problems. But many scientific studies later on with different scientific disciplines adopted this method. So the fuzzy approach allowed us to develop more flexible combination of the weighted maps and could be readily implemented using the spatial modeling techniques. So this will combine in a very sophisticated manner to combine the different weighted maps, and that could be useful for modeling techniques, that could be for particularly for spatial modeling techniques. So this is, if we look the whole model into like our human perspective, that it is, we received the inputs and our brain worked on this, and after that we have released the result. So this we can term the whole process in a fuzzy method, like we input as a fuzzification with the CRIPS as the inputs, then processed by fuzzification, and then after that there is the interface system of the fuzzy, and then defuzzified, and finally we received the outputs also as in CRIPS. So the observation of the information that propagates into SIF fuzzy model requires the input variables go through the three major transformation, as I mentioned, that fuzzification, fuzzy interface, which is the processing system, and lastly the defuzzification, which is before come into the output of the results. So this is the very brief of the fuzzy model. This is the most important slide. I would prefer to show you that the methodological scheme of the whole model, how we use the model for developing the fuzzy SIF proxy. So we have the data set have been obtained from HyPlan airborne platform, as I mentioned before, that we have dual module derived the vegetation indices like simple ratio NDVI, RE, PRI, and EVI. On the other end, from the flow module SFM based maps, we have the 687 and 760 SIF maps. And so SIF, the original SIF maps we have used for the validation purpose, but the most of the model inputs have been worked from these vegetation indices. So from the fuzzy simulation section first, so the whole fuzzy model is a two-step model. I would say first we have processed through the membership functions. Then secondly, the overlay function. So first in the membership function, we have to provide the membership values, membership inputs to all the input variables. So first of all, we process the simple vegetation indices from the fuzzy membership functions. And furthermore, we assemble all these membership values with the fuzzy gamma section to receive the final output as fuzzy SIF fuzzy. So the outputs here we received in two parts. One is SIF fuzzy, another is SIF fuzzy APAR. So SIF fuzzy APAR is something like when you receive a relationship between the SIF fuzzy and original SIF maps, we find out up to a certain level we receive the relationship. But after that, we inject the APAR, which I have calculated from the NDVI and the PAR values that have been measured in the ground. And we inject the APAR into the fuzzy SIF fuzzy model to figure to develop more strong proxy for SIF, which is called the SIF fuzzy APAR. So furthermore, we validate the maps with both SIF fuzzy and SIF fuzzy APAR, and in relation to the original 687 and 760 maps. And after that, we try to figure out the relationship between the original map and the model data, and if it is go through to showcase the ecosystem functional diversity from the model map. So this is the whole model schema. Now I come to the more in-depth into the fuzzy interface system. So here you can see that different inputs of the fuzzy model that have different vegetation indices, and they have specific vegetation traits. Like for NDVI and SR, these are mostly indicate the greenness content, whereas EVI is mostly biomass content, and NDVI RE and PRI for indicating, which stands for the xanthophyll cycle and chlorophyll concentration. So different vegetation indices have some specific vegetation traits, have their properties. And it is the part of the membership functions that different membership functions have been used. I will come into this later. So simple ratio and NDVI have been received by the membership functions with MS large. For EVI, you have received the linear function. For NDVI, you have used the MS large, and for PRI, you have used the MS small function. And in the next step, we received the membership transformation maps. And after that, we provide all the inputs into the fuzzy gamma model. And from fuzzy gamma model through the overlay, we receive the SIF fuzzy map. And then in the SIF fuzzy, we input the APAR into the SIF fuzzy and finally receive the SIF fuzzy APAR. Now we try to figure out that which one is work perfectly, SIF fuzzy or SIF fuzzy APAR. So it is the justification of that particular membership function that we provide into that particular input variable. So why we use this particular function for this? So for the NDVI and simple ratio, we have used the MS large function. So MS large function is something like proportional relationship. Higher the values of the input, we'll get the higher membership functions. So in this perspective that we receive the high sensitive to green leaf contents are higher emitting the SIF signals. On the other hand, the SIF sensitivity of chlorophyll concentration have the high chances in the SIF signals. Similarly, NDVI RE also have the high concentration of the chlorophyll observed in the red edge position, mostly gradually increasing with the SIF, and also decrease with the reverse conditions. So we have used almost the proportional relationship of MS large function for NDVI, RE, NDVI, and simple ratio. EVI, because you remember, like in EVI, we didn't receive any strong agreement or a specific trend between the SIF and vegetation indices. So we simply use the linear function that increasing biomass content, gradually increasing the amount of photosynthesis activity and reflected in the high SIF values. So for EVI, we didn't strongly, we are not that much confident, and we didn't use the SIF fuzzy large function directly for the EVI. That is why we use the fuzzy linear function. And for PRI, we have used the MS small function that I mentioned you previously, that the relationship between SIF and PRI is negatively trending in our study area. So its high sensitivity of the xanthophyll cycle to represent the plant stress condition and less active for photosynthesis reflected in the lower CIF values. So this is the justification, and this is the end product of the membership maps. So here you can see the membership maps. So membership maps are, because the fuzzy process is always between 0 and 1. So we have received the different membership maps of input variables from NDVI, simple ratio, NDVI, EVI, and PRI that ranges from 0 to 1. And from 0 to 1, it is 0 indicates the almost no membership, or 0 membership, or kind of a 1 is a high membership or absolute membership. So here you can see the NDVI simple ratio and NDVI RE. These are mostly high membership have been received by the forest areas and different ages of the grassland. Whereas EVI, it's not very prominently clear. The distribution of the membership is between 0 to 1. Whereas in PRI, the highest membership have been received by the forest, simply reverse with the NDVI and simple ratio conditions. The forest areas have been received the less membership, whereas inside the peatland, the small peatland plant communities have received the high membership. So this is the main model input for my simulation. But the objective is we try to figure out that stepwise estimation of the CIF signals, that how far and how step by step we can receive the CIF signal, and we can approximate the CIF signal into the more closer values of the original CIF. So in every step, in every combination, we have different 6 combination we have developed for CIF fuzzy and CIF fuzzy APAR. So CIF fuzzy is first is we have used with the NDVI and simple NDVI and PRI, and CIF fuzzy APAR. So within the CIF fuzzy, we inject the APAR. You can see that NDVI, EVI into APAR. So this is the first condition. In the second combination, we have used simply the simple ratio and EVI. Third combination, we have used the NDVI and PRI. Fourth combination, simple ratio and PRI. And fifth and sixth, NDVI, EVI, PRI, and sixth combination, we've used all the inputs. So this is something like step-by-step approximation of the CIF signals, that how closer in way that we can reach to the CIF signals. So this would be the first quantitative estimation of CIF signals through different vegetation indices. I can reach up to a certain level. This is the final product of the CIF fuzzy map. So with the different combinations of that I showed in previous slide, that different combination, we received the CIF fuzzy map of all 6 combinations. And in all 6 combinations, we have also tried to do the agreement between the modeled CIF with the original CIF values at both 760 and 687. Here I only show the main 3 relationship. I will come into the all details in next slide. So here you can see mostly the relationships with vegetation indices, derived modeled data, and the original data is quite good. So it indicates that combination of different factors or different vegetation traits can approximate the CIF signal up to this level. So here we calculated the different statistical parameters, and in this table you can see that the CIF fuzzy into CIF 760, we have received the different R square and P values with different RMSE values for different combinations, how much with 760 and 687. So here you can see in 687, the relationship is more closer. So the combination of different vegetation spectral indices that can approximate the 687 is more strong way in compared to 760. So this is the first relationship, first CIF fuzzy agreement results. And in the second part, we have also calculate, as I mentioned, that we have also CIF fuzzy, and after that, to boost the model, we use the inject the APAR into the CIF fuzzy, and here you can observe that after injecting APAR, the relationship between the original CIF and model data is increased quite a lot. So it is the main three agreement that have a good relationship with good agreement with the original SIF signals. And yeah, and here you can see that if you look into the 760 previously, the R square have been improved a lot in compared to previous one, though the other parameters are not that much differ huge from the previous one, but in the agreements the values are more closer to the after injecting the APR into the model. However, for 687, there is improvement, but the improvement is not that much. It's not that prominent that 687 is boosted impressively by injection of APR into the SIF fuzzy model. So basically, what we observed that in 760, the model have been boosted by injecting of APR, but in 687, there is not that much improvement have been noticed in the after the injection of APR. So what are the key findings that we find in our research? That it is that yes, it's possible that an integrated fuzzy model technique incorporating the different trait sensitive SVIs allowed for the first time we developed some reliable proxy for 760 and 687 evident by strong agreement. Then the relations are also significant and have low uncertainties. Based on the R square and low RMSC values, we figured out that a combination C3, the NDVI and PRI is working perfectly for 760 for SIF fuzzy model, and for C6 combination with all different combinations have worked perfectly for 687. So the third point is very important for our finding, that we find out that NDVI, simple ratio EVI and NDVI RE, which is mainly the greenness indices that are highly related to the light absorption interaction and canopy structure, whereas EVI, NDVI RE is more representing the canopy structure and FSK that have in combination with the PRI, which is mostly useful for light use efficiency and NPQ process, can assemble, if we assemble them proper way, that it can approximate the SIF signals up to a certain level. So it's true that it's not possible that we receive the 100% agreement between the modeled and original data. So we assume the residuals that we received maybe that in every case 10% to 40%, that may be the functional diversity. So the lack of the model, maybe we do not capture the functional diversity, but okay, the structural diversity of different plant communities can be captured by the model data. The model SIF fuzzy are well capable to represent the different vegetation groups. So if I come to this slide, so here you can see that different vegetation groups have been represented. So mostly in both cases, we have received that this deciduous forest, elder forest, and this kind of meadows, which have a high signal of sun-induced fluorescence from the original map that we received in my previous work, have in a good agreement with the model data. So whereas the peatland vegetation group mostly located in the middle section, and whereas non-vegetated areas have no values. So it has been observed in both cases. In here also you can see in SIF fuzzy model also that the pattern is completely similar with the agreement with the previous work. So we assume even it's been established that this model can also represent the different vegetation groups and their diversity in the signals. And yes, this is true. Even in many literatures, we have shown that injection of APR into the model is more improved the relationship between the SIF simulation and the model have been improved by the injection of APR. Even many models have started with the APR, but in our case, we have used the APR in the second phase to try to figure out how much model have been boosted by the injection of APR that can capture the original SIF signals here. Yeah, so that's all from my side. and I'm very happy to have any questions.